Hi, everybody. You know, I recently heard that, what you give back to the earth always comes back to you. So, with sustainability a very big question these days, today I have with me Lakshmi Prabha ma'am, founder of Prithvi Mitra, an online emporia selling environmental friendly products. Her purpose is to empower 1 billion lives by drawing lifestyle changes related to sustainability. By being the instrument of making the planet, people, home, and community come together to save Mother Earth. With that, welcome Lakshmi ma'am to the show.
Thank you, Nitya. Namaste, everyone. Glad to be in the show.
Thank you, ma'am. So, ma'am, my first very curious question that I have for you is that we all have sustainability some way or the other linked to our lives, right? So, what is it in your life that really drive you to make this thing a little main point in your life? Because you're running a sustainability organization, you are you have been a business advisor for corporates and kids with relate to sustainability. So what was it in your life that really drove you towards the purpose?
Nitya, this journey of myself started about 7+ years ago, approximately 8 years ago. So, Prithvi Mitra is as a purpose from my passion. So, 7 years ago, I saw a TV show which actually showed how a house garbage packed in a black cover leaves out of the house, leaving the house clean, pollutes a very beautiful village, my city, Bangalore. So is how it was happening in other cities in India. And how the mountain of landfill was polluting the water, the air, and the earth of a very beautiful village just to keep my house clean or the city house clean. So this triggered me or gave me a slap, spark to think how I can be a solution to the problem of mounting garbage around me.
Right, ma'am. So, ma'am, we talk about sustainability a lot these days, but like past few years have been very essential for us, especially when we talk about issues like global warming and, becoming a carbon negative or a carbon zero society or a world or a planet. So my question is, when you started to set out on your journey, what were the various challenges that you faced, at an individual as well as at a society level?
Sure. So the one of the main challenges was though sustainability was there as part of Indian culture. I have seen my mother, in when I was young. First of all, milk, there were no plastic covers. There used to be a milkman who used to come and pour milk in the, vessel in our house. But later this did come the milk packet. But food waste, everything was minimal. And even if there were any remnants available, I remember my mother, burying it behind in our backyard into the mud. So what comes from the mud ideally goes into back into the mud. Now coming back to our present situation, we have got used to. I got used to a very convenient lifestyle of whatever waste was there, packing everything together, whether it is a plastic waste or whether it is a food waste or whether it is a sanitary waste, everything goes in one cover outside. It was so convenient. That is what was the thought processing. So when we first started segregating our waste into three types, ideally wet waste goes into a separate bin, dry waste or recyclable goes into a separate bin, and sanitary or reject waste goes into a separate bin, as each is, has its own destination. And if it is mixed, it cannot be fixed and creates greenhouse gases. So when we were doing it, there were not collection systems happening at a separate level. So we were confused as a family as to where to really, how to really put this separately. But then in Bangalore at that time, 2014-15, we had a rule from the government municipality asking every segregate waste separately into three types. So apparently there was an initiative taken across help of volunteers to take this concept across to each of the people. So it was holistically done. And since the order came from the municipality, the collection services were also asked to collect separately. Yes, initially we had challenges as to we were not clear what to do, but as there is a saying that goes, when we seek something, we start getting the answers. So I was able to connect to various resources, excellent citizen volunteer groups who were working towards solid waste management and resources like two bin one bag, SWMRP, all these, set of group of volunteers and dedicated people. So with this help of resources, we were able to move ahead one step at a time. So as there is a saying, Nitya, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. Yes, and that single step is definitely takes everyone a long way ahead.
Right, ma'am. So, ma'am, talking back about your childhood days, I remember that, when we were kids, I'm sure that you also might have experienced this in your childhood. That, our parents, our grandparents, they used to keep earthen pots into our houses, right? And there were
Correct.
by default a lot of things, which were not harming the environment. So, for example, planting more trees outside the house, or keeping earthen pots, not using air conditioners, keeping instead of coolers, they used to have these natural, I mean, I don't remember the name, but khaskhas, which helps, probably
That is
to
right.
cool down the environment and all those things, right? So when we look
Absolutely.
back into our childhood, right, so what are the stories that you would connect to, when it talks about sustainability from your own personal childhood, and how has that shaped for you to, make a mindset that yes, we should follow the same traditions going forward, at least not in the same manner, but maybe make it easier for users like me, so that they find it convenient and friendly to use it.
Sure, Nitya. So what I can straight away, that is very evergreen in my memory is still, I remember my mother, the milk, when the milk packets came into use, that was the plastic that came into use every day. So when that came into use, I remember my mother cutting the packet clean. After pouring the milk, she used to rinse the packet and keep it on the tile to dry, collect it over a period of time, and hand it over to the nearest Raddiwala so that he can recycle, because it was a high quality plastic. It was a recyclable plastic or that had high value. This is one beautiful way where you are completing the cycle or responsibly, consuming it. That was one way. Second is, as I mentioned to you, if there are any, first of all, she used to make food not very extra, but at least for one person, always we had food extra in our house, because in those days we didn't have WhatsApp or phone as often. So anytime we expect guests. So whoever comes at that time always had a share beautiful, yummy food that our mom makes. So whatever small remnants of food waste that remains, she used to bury it in the soil behind in our backyard near the near the banana tree. I remember this very clearly. And regarding clothes, I would like to say something, because this is something I really used to think very often now. There used to be only 4 or 5 sets of dress for us, and only during Diwali or birthday, or not even birthday, I think only once or twice a year we used to get new dress. So always the concept of what is needed was being consumed, and the concept of consumerism, conscious consumerism, was so very natural and alive, Nitya. This is something I can connect to and really think about it.
Right, ma'am. So, ma'am, talking about corporates, every corporate is mostly focusing on something called an ESG strategy, which is environment, social, and governance strategy. And it is said that some countries have actually made it mandatory for the companies to actually incorporate those reportings into their listings, into their final accounts and everything, right? So, ma'am, I just wanted to understand, like all of us, especially corporates as well, and at an individual level, we are using so much of an e-waste. We have like so many laptops. We keep on changing our mobile phones. Especially generations like me. Who like very are like used to try out new things. So I just want to understand the concept of e-waste first, and how to reduce e-waste from our lives.
Good question, Nitya. So the concept of e-waste is very, I would say, in the recent times, it is very inevitable into use in all our hands because technology is what it is right now. But what we can do as a citizen is to dispose the e-waste responsibly after its life or after its lifetime. So how do we do it? So there are e-waste recyclers authorized by CPCB and the respective states pollution control board to actually collect the e-waste and responsibly dispose it, wherein they have defined a set of processes as it is highly polluting. So they are given permissions and only such recyclers are authorized to process it. So every state, you know, municipality, for example, in Bangalore, in the municipality website, clearly this authorized vendors for collecting each type of waste. So there are a lot of corporates and communities like apartments, big apartments, who actually identify such recyclers in the respective states or cities, and they collaborate with them to do a monthly or a quarterly collection. For example, if you're replacing your phone, the older phone, the best way is if it is in working condition, if we can do a factory reset and donate it to a needy person, that is the best way because there is always waste of one person is always a treasure to another person. In the right way, it gets reused very well by helping another person. If nothing is possible, it has to be disposed. It has to be disposed responsibly so that it doesn't burden the earth, water, and air, or to sell in simple terms, it doesn't pollute.
Right, ma'am. So, ma'am, we all know about, United Nations Sustainability Development Goals. So, like, I just wanted to understand, like, how does Prithvi Mitra, like, helps us to connect with those, and how can one consumer affect sustainability?
Sure. So basically, I'll give an introduction as to what are these, what is this SDGs about? So the sustainable development goals, it is actually the global goals, which was adopted by the United Nations in 2015, basically as a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that by 2030, all people enjoy peace and prosperity. Apparently, there are seven sustainable development goals, and 193 countries have signed to execute this by 2030. And as of June 6, 2021, India is in 117th position in catering to the SDGs. Okay, so now coming to Prithvi Mitra's contribution. So Prithvi Mitra's products, when a consumer buys Prithvi Mitra's products or avails their business advisory services, they cater to 11 sustainability development goals. And these goals apparently, in simpler terms, any product or service opted from Prithvi Mitra helps in contributing to not burdening the earth, water, and air. How I can, an example of a set of products that will be available, like for example, say a bamboo toothbrush, or a natural personal care, like a natural handmade soap, or an upcycled denim bag, etc. So, all the products which have been evaluated and chosen, or a natural cleaner which is non toxic. So, all these products have been carefully evaluated so that they contribute to reduced carbon footprint, because they are all sourced locally, made in India. The raw materials and the products are made in India. Also, the energy consumption part or the water consumption part, or all these are catered to or satisfied much better than creating a new product in the category. Like, say, if it is a plastic toothbrush, or if it's an alternative to a plastic toothbrush, or if it's an alternative to a chemical cleaner, or if it is an alternative to various other products, like a new paper, we have recycled paper. So, in that ways, in all such angles, definitely Prithvi Mitra contributes to the goals, hence contributing to a positive climate change and reducing the burden of climate change.
Right, ma'am. So, ma'am, another question related to the kids, So I remember, when we were kids, we were still, using, chalks and, black, that slates for writing and, for learning our initial alphabets and numbers and everything, right? And today, like what I'm noticing is that, a lot of schools are emphasizing on reducing the count of paper because they're trying to conserve, or convert everything into an e format. And so I want to know the difference between what it was earlier, like when we were using chalks and slates, then we moved on to something like like using paper a lot for writing and everything. And now my thing is that people are like focusing on using a lot of e formats, like learning it on the tab or on the mobile. So which according to you was or is the best way to learn, and how does this impact sustainability?
Okay, so before I answer this question, let me add to the earlier question and the detailed thoughts that I was sharing on the sustainable development goals. You asked me how one person's contribution affects the entire thing around. So here again, I would like to, this is my very deep realization that one person's consumption definitely affects the entire ecosystem around us. So conscious consumerism is what it is that bogs down, or if you really see in a deeper manner, contributes to everything that affects around us. If I'll just give you one simple example and then move on to this question, Nitya. Nitya's one choice of shifting to a non-toxic skin cream definitely contributes to a clean water system and clean earth without polluting it.
Right, ma'am. So, ma'am, again, on the same lines, how can we as parents, and how can people who are like very busy in their lives and are like used to a very tight schedule ensure that sustainability is one thing which they do, not because it takes time, but it is very handy.
So, Nitya, solutions and options or sustainable alternatives to regular industrial produced alternatives are definitely available. But as the demand from the person people grows, so will the supply of these alternatives will grow, thereby making it more available and more accessible and at a better price than compared to what it is available right now. So definitely everything is hand in hand, or it is a collaborative effort to make it happen. But yes, awareness is the main key.
Right, ma'am. So, ma'am,
So
for like, yes, ma'am, please
yeah,
continue.
Nitya, coming to your slate point, should I share my thoughts on that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Please go ahead, ma'am.
So yes, the slate and the chalk was definitely used in the earlier times. Definitely, it can be used right now also, but it is always, best to go with the flow, which is go right now, be in the present and be in the moment. Definitely, we don't forget our past or our earlier culture, which has been always sustainable, but we should also move ahead with the latest technology. So coming to this point, always definitely writing with a chalk and a slate has its own benefits. One is it doesn't produce the waste because after using a chalk, it completely vanishes. So there is no refill, plastic refill or a nib in as in the present day scenarios to actually dispose, okay, in that way. But also, I cannot comment more, but I have heard or read probably that always writing has a connection with registering in a child's mind, and that is when we used to remember better. So this is something I read definitely. So compared to the latest thing, yes, saving paper, we have to be abreast with the newer technologies like, going with the tablets or screen to read, but not too much definitely. Everything has its own positives and negatives. So whatever is the right and best available at the present moment, we have to go with it.
Right, ma'am. So, ma'am, how do you think, COVID has actually changed and has actually also helped people understand sustainability at an individual level? Because there were less cars on the road. We were on a national lockdown, not just in India, but across countries. People started opting for gardening and plantations because they acted as a stress busters. People started growing their own organic fruits and vegetables into their garden. A lot of them started understanding the concept of what can be grown inside the house and what cannot be grown inside the house, and things like that, right? So, ma'am, how do you think that COVID has actually acted as a boost when it comes to sustainability as a question?
Yes, it's a very interesting one that was happening across the world because it literally put the world's speed to a halt or like a break. So people started slowing down, giving time to think about themselves. This is my perspective, and of course, I also read that there was realized that there is realization among many people that definitely there is something bigger than them that can really affect things beyond the purview. And people took out time for themselves, time for family in a positive side. Of course, there are, of course, grim situations of many people and industries going down. But to answer your question, yes, people slowed down and literally took a U turn or a turn inside to see what they are, what they love to do, and what they want to do. So then the hobbies, they started brushing up their, hidden hobbies or their real interest of what they want to do, which during the normal times, non-COVID times, they didn't have the time to really think about. So this is what I'm thinking, Anitya. And also, I read in an article that literally last year, 2020, 2021, there has been a huge shift towards going natural ways, consumption of natural kadas or herbal drinks to boost the immunity, and similarly opting for greener choices because of the bigger awareness on climate change happening around us. So all these factors definitely contributes.
Right, ma'am. So, ma'am, uh, from a food industry perspective, how do you think that recycling is important for an industry like food and dairy? Because we, a lot of us, we are still consuming, especially in a lot of countries, people are still consuming milk and milk products. Earlier we used to, like, a lot of companies used to focus on gathering more volume than on the quality of the milk or the product. But now, because of the health issues and everything around, I think people have now moved back to a natural way of processing where they focus on the quality as well, right? So, ma'am, I just wanted to understand, how can we as consumers at an individual level ensure that we are consuming the right thing, you know? So, what are the top, like things that we can keep in mind while purchasing anything from the market to ensure that we are doing less harm to ourselves?
Very good question and very deep. Yes, Nitya. Nitya?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So, Nitya, this is a very deep and very important question. In fact, my journey of sustain or my family, our journey of sustainability itself started with our food lifestyle change from a chemical laden food to a chemical free food. That is how we started our journey. So, I highly recommend from my experience, my personal experience, this is my perspective that yes, if you can do, if you are able to do this first step of change to from a chemical laden food. Food means vegetables, fruits, groceries, etc., to a chemical free version of vegetables, fruits, or groceries. By one person opting for chemical free food definitely contributes to the farmer, or catering to the demand, the supply catering to the demand, the farmer not using pesticides or fertilizers on the land. It goes a very long way. And we as a family trust the source of people who sell chemical free products to us, and we once we are sure of the source, we go with them, rather than, it's our personal experience, rather than only the brand. We definitely trust the source from where we buy. So this
Right.
is our take. This is my take on food, Nitya. And with regards to dairy, there are a lot of studies, talking about global warming, etc. My perspective is everything bogs down to conscious consumerism, and the whole industry is industrialized. Unlike every animal being part of the family in our earlier lifestyle, like about 30, 40 years ago. So you we consider ethical, what is the ethical thing that is involved when I as a consumer opt for any product, be it food or dairy or cosmetic or anything, or a dress, clothing, or anything. So in that angle is how we see Nitya.
Right, ma'am. So, ma'am, my last question to you again. Three suggestions to people that you would want to give from your journey, in life and from sustainability in general, that people can learn from and can implement or, takeaways from them.
Number one, change begins with me. This is my mantra. Number two, again, like Mahatma Gandhi ji said, Be the change you want to see in the world. Unless I change, I cannot preach anyone. Third point, reduce, reuse is the way to go because everything boils down to conscious consumerism.
Right, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being on the show. I am sure that, a lot of listeners, a lot of people who are listening to you right now would be interested in connecting with you. Also, at the same time, I have one last, piece of suggestion for people around if you are listening to this podcast, that please do follow Lakshmi, ma'am, because she is one of the best in her fields that I have known. Plus, at the same time, it's very important for all of us to at least understand the basics of sustainability. And we know that we don't have much people or much knowledgeable people to reach out to, in terms of, how we can actually help ourselves, help our families, our communities, our home, and our country, to reach that goal, because it's very important before we realize it's too late. So, with that, I am Nitya and I'm logging off for the day with Lakshmi ma'am today. Hope to see you on the next podcast soon. Thank you so much, Lakshmi ma'am.
Thank you, Nitya. I would like to end with one small line or one sharing that I would like to do is whenever you're going out, please carry your own water bottle and a small reusable bag, which is one step of change towards a sustainable lifestyle. Thank you very much and gratitude.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.